Hello.
Hello, friend. Welcome.
The last time we met, you made a very strong phrase that Jesus is the Savior of the world, meaning that he came for all the people of the world. Is that right?
Very right.
What then do you make of a number of Bible verses that indicate that Jesus only came for the Jews? For example, in Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24, we find the exact words of Jesus himself. I wish I could read this verse maybe.
Please do.
And this is what it says, Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24. He answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Again, when Jesus sent the 12 disciples to preach the whole world, he warned them not to go to the Gentiles or Samaritans, for example, in Matthew 10, 5 and 6, but to the lost sheep of Israel, again here, meaning the Jews. Doesn't this then mean that Jesus Christ came for the Jews only, and that other people have got other prophets they look up to?
Okay, when you look at the surface meaning of the two passages, it may appear to suggest that Jesus only came to minister to the Jews.
Yeah.
So that he was sent as a messenger for the Jews only.
Yeah.
But this is not so. What Jesus meant is that Jews had been given the first opportunity to receive the Messiah and to receive his message, and then Gentiles later. And I will illustrate this by giving you a number of examples and proofs.
Yeah.
This was given to the Jews first because the Jews had been expecting the Messiah from since the time of Abraham. And I can read for you from Genesis chapter 12, verses 2 and 3. These are the words given as a promise for the Messiah to Abraham, who is the father of the Jews. So it says here, to Abraham, I will make you into a great nation. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Now that is the promise of the Messiah. Now, so that at this time when Jesus was now starting his ministry on earth, people were expecting the Messiah. And this is the reason people like Philip, referring to Jesus, would say, we have found him, the one who Moses wrote in the law, and the one prophets also wrote about. So it was a known promise by all the Jews that the Messiah was coming. It's also right to say that at this time only the Jews had the history about the Messiah, not the Gentiles. And compared to other people of the world, only Jews could easily understand the message of the Messiah because they were expecting it. They were expecting him in the first place. So you see, it was easier for Jesus to introduce himself and his message to the Jews than it would have been to the Gentiles. They would have struggled with this message because they didn't have the history, the promise of the Messiah. So God actually had prepared the Jews to be the first recipients of the message or the word, the gospel, and he expected the same Jews then to tell it to the Gentiles. Only that at this timing point, it was not time for the Gentiles to be told the gospel yet. Jesus was still preparing the Jews so that he would say, I was sent to these only. Don't go to the Gentiles, because time was not yet. There was to come a time when he would release them to go to the Gentiles.
So when you're talking about Gentiles, you are talking about all the others apart from the Jews,
Yeah,
is it?
Gentiles, of course, yes. All the other people of the world,
Okay.
less the Jews.
Okay.
Yes. And you see, in the preparation for the Jews, God did a number of things. Jesus is born among them. He grew among them. He started his ministry among them, both teaching and doing great miracles that proved him beyond doubt that he was the Messiah. And as a result of this, then, Jews were the first believers. They were the first followers of Jesus Christ. But of course, the Gentiles would come later. So we also see that apart from being the first believers, Jews also were the first missionaries. Those who believed in Jesus Christ were the first lot that went now into the Gentile world to tell them about the Messiah. Of course, it is true that some Jews thought that the Messiah was meant for them, the Jews only. This is our prophet. So you Gentiles have nothing to do with Jesus Christ. But this was short-lived. This was a misunderstanding. And this is why actually they restricted the preaching of the Jews, the preaching of the gospel to Jews only, until Peter, you can read for yourself from Acts 10, he met in a vision. God confronted him, and God meant him to understand that the gospel was not for Jews only. The gospel was also for the Gentiles. And now he is sending them out to preach the good news to other races, other nations.
So also it was a struggle with the Jews themselves, because they thought that Jesus had come for them only.
Yeah, well, exactly. And you can read stories like that from the New Testament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do we have any proof from Jesus himself that he had come as a savior for all, not only the Jews, but a savior for all? Because now you are telling me that he came for all. But Jesus himself, did he know that? Or maybe he was also struggling like the other Jews, that he just came for the Jews themselves?
No, he was not struggling.
Yeah.
He knew
Yeah.
that he had come to be the savior of the whole world.
Yeah.
Every person, every race, every nation. And I'll give you some proofs from the Bible. That one, he ministered to the Gentiles just like he did to the Jews. He healed their sick. He raised their dead. Actually, the verse you read from Matthew 15 is taken from a story of a Canaanite woman whose daughter was demon possessed, and Jesus released her. He healed the daughter, even though she was not a Jew. Again, Jesus also preached to the Gentiles, to the non-Jews. You remember the story of the Samaritan woman in John 4?
Yeah.
She was not a Jew, but yet Jesus took time to preach the good news to her, because she too deserved to hear the good news. He was the savior of the whole world. And also, it's interesting to note that though the Jews were the first to receive the Messiah and to hear his message, they did not receive him like it would be expected. They rejected him. But you see, God then opens the doors to the whole world, to every other person, when he says, for example, in John 1, 12 and 11 and 12, that to those who believed in his name, to those who received Jesus, he gave the power. He gave them the power to become children of God. Regardless of the Jews rejecting him, now he opens the door to the rest of the world, to everyone who believed. He gave the power to become a child of God. And the last proof, for example, which will prove that Jesus was the savior of the whole world, is from Revelation 7 and 9 that, and maybe you can read for that for us. Revelation 7, 9.
Yes, I got it. It's Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9. This is what it says. After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and in front of the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands.
Now you see, in heaven, the destiny of all believers in Jesus Christ will be found people of every nation, every tribe, every people, and every language, not the Jews only. Now, how is this possible? This is only possible because Jesus is the Savior of the world, the Savior of every race, every tribe, every people, every language. Now, in heaven will be Jews, of course,
Yeah.
but there will also be Arabs, Indians, Japanese, Chinese, Somalis, Africans, and all of us, those who believe in the Savior of the world. So, everybody, you and me, and Jews equally, have an equal opportunity to believe in Jesus Christ and become a child of God because He is the Savior of the world. So, in conclusion, therefore, God's grace is for all of us, not for Jews only. God's plan of salvation is for all of us. Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, is for all of us. And salvation is for all of us. Everyone who believes has the right, has the power to become a child of God. And why? Because Jesus is the Savior of the world. Does this shed any light to your question?
Yeah, maybe I can get some. I can get the shedding some light.
Okay.
But I would wish that if we can sit together again sometimes and explore more about this and learn more, maybe I can be in a position to maybe to understand it better. I think.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And you're most welcome next time.
Yeah.
Let's continue searching the scriptures
Yeah.
about who Jesus is and whether actually He fits to be the Savior of the world for all of us.
Yeah.
It is right here in the scriptures.
Thank
You're
you.
most welcome.
Thank you.